Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk, and I'm reaching out to the student body. So we just went through 3 sessions of talking about getting employed and showing you how to get in the IT industry and what tools you need. Now, as we proceed forward in this particular session, we're going to talk about the tools that can help you in your study. We're going to talk about some tools that's going to help you be able to develop a talent for understanding the material. And then we're going to talk about the tools that you need to use when you're working with this material. So you're going to hear me talk about this new thing that came out called Chat GTP. It's an AI. I'm going to introduce you to 2 different AIs that can help you. You probably already know one, but overall, we should go through 3 of them. You're going to hear me talk about Net Labs 2 and why knowing these labs are important from a IT manager's point of view, because that's one of the things that we're going to actually test you on. We are definitely going to test you in that first interview. And we're going to talk about the course as a whole. Now, you guys are ahead of me. What I'm about to do is show you how I strategically break this course down and how I learn, or the things that I had to develop to be able to be a good learner. Because you got to remember this. You may spend roughly a few hours a week on this. Now, I get it. Some of you students in there, you guys are knocking this out. But I want to show all of my students that you have to put more hours in on your studies because you want to mimic what that person is doing in the corporate world. Remember, these individuals get up and they go to work and they spend 8 hours a day doing what you want to do. The difference between them and you is they actually do the work. So you have to build a skill set that would allow you to walk in there. And from an IT manager point of view, there's no holds barred. We are going to come at you hard because we want to make sure you know the material. One of the things that always amazes me about a student when they come into an interview, an individual, not a student, because I keep saying student, but you know what I'm saying. So what amazes me is when people come in there, they always say, after the interview, we'll walk them to the door and they will say, I don't know what you guys was looking for. You don't know what we were looking for. I don't say anything, but I'm amazed at when people make that statement, because we tell you what we're looking for when we put it in a job description. That's exactly what we're looking for. But because people don't understand the magnitude of studying their labs, they really just can't get how important the lab works. So one of the things I want you to be able to develop is to be able to develop a skill set on doing your labs. I know after this class, most of you probably gonna put the labs in the garbage and forget about them. But if you can spend time in Linux classes, Python programming classes, Cisco networking classes, Cisco cyber ops, taking all them labs and going over and over and over again, you will see that you're developing the same skill that that person who walked into the job and sit down at their desk and begin to do for 8 hours. So you got to build that up. So in your life, while you doing your day-to-day jobs, you should be sitting down, putting aside time to actually study labs. And now this is going to shock you, every day. Because when you come into a corporation and try to get a job as an IT specialist, Linux administrator, network administrator, one of the things that they're going to look at is your ability to be able to do or perform at the level of the individuals who work there. Now, we do have this policy where we may give a person anywhere between a month to 90 days just to try them out. But you want to excel when you first get the job. That way they can lesson and say, hey, just got to know what he's doing. This person knows what he's doing. Let's go ahead and hire. That's men as well as women. So what we're going to walk through now is we're going to walk through some tools you're going to use. We're going to go to the PowerPoint and go over the first portion of one of the classes I selected. Remember, you went through 3 videos. By now, you should know exactly what you want to do because you have the tools before you. Now, I know some of you probably just did the regular thing and went through the lesson, but that's okay because you can never say you don't know what to do. But by now, you have selected a course that you want to go on for employment. So I selected cybersecurity, okay? I really selected 2, 3 other courses just to mush them together. And you learned about that in the previous lab. The previous video log. Excuse me for saying lab. Previous video log. Well, I said, what skills do you need to enhance your skill set when you're going forward for a job in that particular discipline? If you answered that question, you know, just if you're in a cybersecurity class, you know you're going to need some Python. Or you know you're going to need some Linux. Now you see how I said or? You're going to need both of them. There's no way around that. You cannot be in cybersecurity. Well, you can be, but you're not making some significant amount of money. But being in cybersecurity means you have to have some Linux skills. You have to have some programming skills. You don't have to have deep programming skills because all we need to do is write short, meaningful scripts. And as you want to proceed forward, you definitely need to know how to do scripting. So that's Python. You need to know Linux. Okay, so let's do the next thing. Let's go into the very next things that I want to show you. Okay, so we're back now, and I want to point out a few things that I think is really important. The first thing I want to talk about is the tools. You're going to see me list some tools on the screen that you should have. Right now, I'm looking at a job in Indeed, but we're going to start off with the tools, and we're going to come back here. The first tool you're going to hear about, and this is the buzzword, and that's why I'm talking about it. They talking about Chat GPT. Now, Chat GPT is a research tool. It's AI. You can use it to do all type of magnificent things. And one of the things that I point out is right here. As you can see, if I typed in there configure a router, which these are classes I teach all the time, once I type in here configure a router, all I have to do is click on this link right here, and ChatGPT will start configuring or giving me information on how to configure a router. Now, a lot of professors are scared about this because it's like, hey, the students are going to be able to just cheat all through the class. No. Because one of the things in these AIs, they will give you the preliminary information, but you still got to go through it step by step and make sure it's right. Now, this is spot on because I put it in there like 3-4 times. I've been checking a lot of stuff in here, and it's great. And I want you guys to use these tools to better make sure that you can do the magnificent work that you want to be able to get to that magnificent level. So you got to do magnificent work to get to the magnificent level. So I want you to use these tools. Now, what Microsoft has did or is attempting to do, because it's not out yet, is put it inside of Bing, because Microsoft bought this product and it will be inside of Bing. But that's a great tool to use. Now, another tool I want to introduce you to is, of course, like I said, this is not perfect. You already know about Grammarly, right? So you have been using this tool to make sure your writing is magnificent. And if I copy and paste that in there, what Grammarly will do is go through and say what's correct and what's not correct and help you correct it. Now, I have a paid version of this tool, But in reality, you can utilize it for free. And also on Grammarly, you can come down here. I'm gonna move my little head bouncing around and check it for plagiarism. So I can hit that and it'll tell me I'm all good. But this is the paid version. You know, I want to make sure I'm not plagiarizing things. Okay. Now that's great. But what if I wanted to change this phrase? Okay. Here's another tool that you may or may not know about. And I just want you to start getting in the habit of pulling these tools out when you work, because I want you to go in there and be a professional. I want you to be skilled up. And I have this on my computer. When I'm managing people and making sure that they do the work, I use these tools to send out my emails. I use these tools to do everything because they help enhance your skills. So you will see me click on this right here. This is another one, Cue Ball. It's another one where I can just simply type some text in there. This is an application I'm paid, but you do got a free version of this too. And as you see, I got it on formal. Now, when you have a free version, you have it on standard, okay? But it's an outstanding tool. As you can see, it will change the language of what's in here. If I come here and click formal, it'll change it again. And then this helps me in my writing. It helps me in my presentations. And it's also helping me develop my first research paper that I'm going to be posting. So these are 3 tools that you need to be able to use to be a professional in this world. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, that's cheating. Oh, don't use that. Nah, don't pay them no mind. Utilize it to the best of your ability. But if you're in a classroom and you're writing a paper for your teacher, make sure you ask your teacher, can you use this? In my classroom, when I have people write documents, I tell them this: let me see your original, then let me see what it transferred it into. That way we can be okay. I don't mark the original bad. I just want to make sure they are doing the work, and you have to do the work. So those are 3 important tools. Remember, Chat GTP is the first one. If I said that wrong, guys, you will correct me. The second one is Grammarly, to make sure that you do your writing correctly. You want to be a professional. This is not just for college. This is for the work world, okay? And then the very last one that you see right here, Quillbot, okay? Quillbot. So utilize these tools. They're very helpful. They make your writing magnificent. I was going to say superb, but we ain't trying to get really out there. They help you out a lot. Okay, so these are 3 tools. And I want to stress, you're going to have to, as an IT person, communicate with people in the organization. And you want to put your best foot forward. Now, I'm reading some of you guys discussion questions. So you know this is a timely activity that you need. So just utilize it. It's great. It's great. The next thing I want to point out is, so we talked about this right here, where we showed you where to go, look at government statistics. Like I said earlier, by now, you should already have a position. I told you I'm going to choose this one. And I just want to show you something in this right quick as we move forward, because I want you to start wrapping your mind around that first job. I know a lot of people say, Professor, why are you talking about the job now? Well, you in a class where you can actually sit for a certification, take that certification and work. Start making moolah, monies. You're in that class. Whether it's my Linux class, whether it's my Network Essentials class, whether it's my cybersecurity class, you're in that class. And I know you're going to say, hey, Professor, I just want to do my 2 years. But if you can make monies, it's that time. Go for it. You know, don't wait the 2 years out. Work while you're in school so you can build up that work history. because that's going to be so important. I'm going to explain that later as we travel through this, but just make sure you have that under your belt. Okay, so let's move on. I chose Indeed because there's a few things in these job descriptions I want to point out. When you hear a student say after interview, I don't know what they wanted, I can't figure out what they wanted, this is what they want you to know. They want you to know the responsibilities of that position. So on this particular job position, which is cybersecurity analyst, levels 1 to 7, they have multiple levels. They want you to know these particular things in here. And what I do is teach students how to put it together. That go a level 1, that go a level 2. You see some of the stuff in your class that you're going through right now, that go a level 3. So that's what they want you to know. And when you see them levels represent your number and your finance that they will pay you. So as you can see, a level 1 in this position is in New York is 82 to 105. I try to resist putting in a location because I want to see what's happening around the nation. But just remember, these levels define where you at, and you see how high you can go at a level 7. So I just wanted to point that out. When you are getting yourself ready for an interview, these responsibilities are what they're gonna ask you in an interview. They're gonna shoot these directly at you. And I'm gonna show you as we travel through these classes how to do this. Earlier, I just introduced you to some tools. I hope you find those tools very helpful. This is the Cisco Cyber Ops Associate 1 program, and I'm speaking to all of my students because this will resonate with every student. Not only my cybersecurity students, but also students who are doing Linux and students who are doing networking, etc., etc. We all need to come together to be able to protect the devices that we use. Even on an individual level, we got to be able to secure our devices. What this particular section that I'm going through will talk about is how to secure all devices. Now, this is going to be a progression. We're going to continue to grow. Even though my people in the cybersecurity I'm targeting, I'm also passing this off to everybody because I want you to know what's coming down the pipe. And as you can see, it's about explaining why networks and data are attacked, explaining the motivations behind these threat actors that's out there causing these problems, and also how to explain the potential impact of network security attacks. So this is for everyone. We have to become more secure. So I want everybody to focus in on this. As you can see, we talking about war stories. These hackers know how to set up rogue devices that can interrupt what we're doing, whether it's we making purchases, whether we're on our phones, whether we are also in our bank accounts. These rogue devices that they're allowed to set up is causing havoc in the world. So you need to know about watching for hotspots. Let me say that again. You need to know about a hotspot and how to watch hotspots. I never use free hotspots anymore. When I go into the library, when I go into anywhere, I use my devices because they have security on it. Now, I'm not saying I can't get hacked, people. Yes, I can still be hacked. These guys are clever, they sharp, and they do not play. Okay, and what they're doing to companies is making companies pay. They put their devices, their data into a locked phase, and they cannot get their data, and What do? They charge them. It's called ransomware. They charge them. They steal their data. It says this ransomware, when installed, begins the process of gathering and encrypting corporate data. And it's not just corporate, it's any business that's generating money. They're targeting nations. You heard about the pipeline that was just targeted, and they had to pay millions of dollars. Some say the FBI got some of the money back, but the way these guys are, I tend not to believe stuff like that. But what's important, I need you to start, whether you a Linux administrator, whether you a network administrator, whether you a cybersecurity, I need you to start paying attention to the news about these particular hacks. You know, these individuals are out there using devices so small that we have them on our refrigerator. Internet of Things, IoT devices that, regulate the heat in our house, that allows us to know what's in our refrigerator. They using those devices to hack corporations. My next video log will be demonstrating how to set up your own virtual environment with cybersecurity tools so you can practice. So who are these threat actors? These threat actors are amateurs, they hacktivists. When we talk about amateurs, we talk about these young people out here who just learning how to hack for fun, but they still dangerous. And they grow up to be dynamic hackers. We talk about hacktivists, individuals who want to hack for a cause. That's still dangerous. Now, we're not even going to begin to talk about state-sponsored hackers or terrorism. You already know about that. Now, the reason I'm talking about this now is because for the individuals in my cybersecurity class and all of my classes, be prepared for these questions on a final test. Yes, I'm gonna ask questions on a final test. This is more or less geared towards the cybersecurity students, but I want everybody to be prepared for some of these questions. But for the cybersecurity students, I'm targeting you. These are the 4 things you should know. So whenever I say you should know, you should jot that down because that's going to be a question on your test. But I need everybody to come together and start protecting our devices, not just the cybersecurity people. Let's not lay that weight only on them. IoT, we gotta keep our devices up to date. I constantly check my car when it comes, because my car is just nothing but a big computer. So I'm making sure it's up to date. It is literally on my phone that every time an update package come out, it pushes out to the car. I'm constantly checking all my little small devices. You have to consistently do this to be protected. And the firmware that comes with these devices, they can get outdated pretty quick, especially if you're not paying attention to protecting it. Now, what impact does these threats have on us? Well, they can get personal identification information. To my cybersecurity people, this is going to be important. It will be on your test. They can get PHI or PSI. You need to know what those different things are because you will be protecting that data. So make sure you understand that clearly. You're hearing a lot in the news about intellectual property that is stolen. That's what these guys, you can literally make millions off of that. Politics and national security. As you can see, we just watched balloons fly around our nation. What was they doing? Surveillance. They was finding out information about our most critical infrastructure. So, hey, we got to be on top of our game. We didn't even know that these balloons was out there. What's going on? Okay, now going into this next phase, we're going to talk about how to fight against this stuff. And the best way to fight is by developing you developing you in Linux, developing you in Python program, developing you in cybersecurity, developing you in all these different tools that can help you in cybersecurity. Remember, your last video log was about how do you protect the nation. The whole thing behind security operation systems is making sure you understand the elements of the SOC. This will be on your test. You got to know about processing, technology. You got to make sure you understand these particular elements when it comes to a security operations center. The different tiers: as an analyst, as an incident responder, a threat hunter, a manager. You need to know the different roles in here, and it will be on the test. You look at this, how analysts rise to threat, incident responder who rise to threat hunter. These guys, these are the roles that you need to know. It's important, so make sure you understand these roles. So what do a tier 1 do? Monitors incidents, opens tickets, basic threat mitigation. That's what you'll be doing. Then you want to move up to tier 2 or tier 3. You're getting more engaged in it. So make sure you understand those different levels. Now, all of this network traffic, intel threat feeds, network flows, system logs, security events, identity access content, endpoint data, all this comes together, but we can print out a report using a system called SIEM, Security Information and Events Management System. So you see another one here, security ops. That is for large organizations, humongous organizations. Like, just think of GM. It's a manufacturing car company all around the world. These are what they use to protect their systems. Okay, so you got to make sure you know the difference between the SOC and the SOAR. Know the difference between the two because it's important. So, and you see it right there.